International students hoping to study in Australia must now pay a higher price to qualify for a visa. The revised fee comes after immigration reached a record high last year, sparking calls for stricter migration laws. Starting today, applying for a student visa in Australia will become far more expensive compared to any other country. At a price tag of $1,067, Australia ranks the highest in terms of student fees, beating both the United States and Canada. Australia's government also says there will be measures to close loopholes in visa rules that allowed foreign students to continuously extend their stays. The moves follow a raft of actions taken since late last year to curb the surge in international students after COVID-19 restrictions were lifted in 2022. Australia has one of the biggest international education sectors in the world, accounting for 7% of its total exports. Asian countries make up more than 50% of the total foreign student population. China tops the list with more than 140,000 students registered as of last year alone. International graduates also account for 1/3 of the nation's permanent skilled migrant intake, and it's driving worries that the clampdown on migration may put the economy at risk. Maynard tells us more.
The government's logic behind this surprise move is that it'll deter foreign students from coming here at a time when total migrant arrival numbers have hit a record high and accommodation has become expensive and difficult to find. That's put intense pressure on the government here to find a solution to the problem, and increasing the cost of a student visa will clearly help to ease the strain. Home Affairs Minister Claire O'Neill says the changes will also restore integrity to Australia's international education system and create a migration system which is fairer, smaller and better able to deliver for the country. Now, while recognising that the education sector had the power to drive growth and opportunity for Australia, it was equally important to work with quality providers to clean it up, she said. Well, this was a veiled swipe at some smaller colleges which had a dubious reputation and were often more interested in collecting student fees than providing a quality product. It also has to be said that some students also saw this as a convenient way of getting into Australia by dropping out of their course at an early stage and then getting a job. This latest announcement by the government will not generate much confidence in an industry which is one of Australia's biggest export earners, at one stage worth more than 36 billion Australian dollars a year. The higher visa cost has already been condemned by key figures in the industry. One described it as really poor policy that would do little to deter those most determined to enter the country on a student visa, particularly those with a perverse motive. While Phil Honeywood, the Executive Director of the International Education Association of Australia, described it as another blow to a sector that was already facing death by 1,000 cuts. Given that it's a non-refundable fee, this is exploitation of overseas young people at its worst, he added. So clearly this is not going down well in the education industry, and more especially among those who were hoping to take advantage of Australia's much respected education industry. It will, however, drive migrant numbers down and ease the demand for rental accommodation, which has caused extreme social problems here over the past few years. So domestically, the government's action will go down well at home, and with an election due later this year or early the next, that's likely to improve the government's prospects.